Assalamu alaikum, and a very warm welcome to the 16th edition of SOT events, Guardians of the Future, Shaping Tomorrow with Generative AI. Some announcements before we commence the program. Please switch your phones to silent mode. This hall has 2 available exits. Our team of ushers is present to provide any assistance you may need. We begin the program with recitation and translation of the Holy Quran, followed by the national anthem.
In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful.
لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم من دياركم أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم إن الله يحب المقسطين.
Allah does not forbid you from those who do not fight you because of religion and do not expel you from your homes, from being righteous toward them and acting justly toward them. Indeed, Allah loves those who act justly.
إنما ينهاكم الله عن الذين قاتلوكم في الدين وأخرجوكم من دياركم وظاهروا على إخراجكم أن تولوهم ومن يتولهم فأولئك هم الظالمون.
Allah only forbids you from those who fight you because of religion and expel you from your homes and aid in your expulsion. Forbids that you make allies of them. And whoever makes allies of them, then it is those who are the wrongdoers.
Let us now rise for the national anthem. Let us now welcome our Master of Ceremonies for today, Mr. Talat Hussain. Mr. Talat Hussain is a prominent Pakistani journalist with nearly 3 decades of experience in conflict reporting, politics, and international coverage. Beyond journalism, he is involved in teaching at various renowned educational institutions, including Beaconhouse. Let's welcome Mr. Talat Hussain.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, ambassadors, politicians, educationists, students, parents, organizers, thank you very much for being here and for inviting me to be the master of ceremony for this very important event. I normally don't read from the script, but in respect of time, I have to do that because we have plenty of great events waiting you, so I don't want to be standing between you and those events. So I'll just shoot off from the script, which is regarding the SOT event of today. This is the 23rd year of School of Tomorrow event, which Beaconhouse has advocated and advanced the rights of children and the young from this platform, which means that this has become almost a full generation platform where great ideas have been floated from and which sets the tone for discourse on education, not just here in Pakistan, but abroad as well. The big idea behind all these gatherings is to ensure that the next generation takes charge of the brave new world that awaits them, and that we give them the opportunity to become mentors and leaders for their communities, their families, in their regions, in their countries, and also create a community of remarkable, imaginative, forward-looking ideas. This community of ideas can be inspired by the events that will unfold in the next 3 days. And the tagline for these events is Shaping Tomorrow with Generative Artificial Intelligence, an example of which is this gentleman on our left and right, which is one way to see how artificial intelligence is going to be shaping the entire education landscape. This event is also dedicated to fostering global unity and providing reflective skills among the new generation leaders. This goes beyond faith, class, color, and creed. So it is not about a region, it is not about a class, it is really about a global community that is going to be benefiting from artificial intelligence, which is going to become part and parcel of our life. Participants in this event would also debate and discuss recent events that have deeply affected communities, sending us chilling reminders about the need for peace, understanding, and solidarity. We acknowledge the suffering of those affected by conflicts and feel their pain. We hope to trigger ideas that create space for all individuals to assert their rights and channel their aspirations to build a better tomorrow. So School of Tomorrow is really about building a better tomorrow. This year's SOT gathering will unfold an array of activities like panel discussions, one of which is already set for you. It's going to take place in about an hour from now. Workshops, debates, interviews, and insightful addresses. You will also get to see and participate in vibrant expressions of art and culture and futuristic and thought-provoking immersive art exhibition. So we have a lot lined up for you, and we're looking forward to seeing all of that in splendid, resplendent display. Time for the welcome address. For the welcome address, let us now go online, befitting of artificial intelligence and digital technology invasion of our life. But online is a great way to educate people. For the welcome address, I think it's befitting that we have the founder and chairperson of Beaconhouse, Mrs. Nasreen Mahmood Kasuri, whose path-breaking educational efforts have transformed the landscape of learning beyond our borders. So it's not just Pakistan that she has touched in terms of redefining the parameters of education. There are many regions in the world that have benefited from her forward thinking. Her award list is long, too many to name, but just to name a few. Sitara Isar Award from the Government of Pakistan for her philanthropic and humanitarian work. Fatma Jinnah Award for services in the field of social sector entrepreneurship. Last year, she got the Honorary Living Legend Award by the Sustainable Development Policy Institute, normally known as STPI. And this was for her splendid contribution to the development of the field of education sector in Pakistan. So over to you, Mrs. Kasuri.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry I've not been able to come personally, but I couldn't have missed this address. And welcome everyone, distinguished guests, colleagues, friends, students, speakers. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all of you. I would like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you on the 16th edition of the School of Tomorrow event, themed Guardians of the Future, Shaping Tomorrow with Generative AI. It is truly an honor to be with you virtually as we embark on this incredible journey together. This event holds immense significance for us as it marks the 48th anniversary of Beaconhouse, a journey that started in 1975 and has grown into an international network of schools. Our commitment to education has remained steadfast throughout these years. It's also significant because we feel that the school of tomorrow is a school for everyone, irrespective of their socioeconomic status, as it will provide a learning platform that can be accessed by all. Before we delve into today's exciting discussion, let's take a moment to reflect on the journey that has brought us here. We opened our doors to students on the 4th of November 1975. And that is the reason for these dates for the SOTs every year, because we like to combine it with the celebration of our birthday. We opened our doors as Les Anges Montessori Academy with 19 toddlers. Since then, we have grown into an international network of private schools providing distinctive and meaningful learning opportunities to students the world over. At Beaconhouse, we are never still, an unending process of adopting newer approaches for providing our students with the most modern learning platforms in Pakistan. We have been pioneers in early childhood education led by Les Anges Montessori, and through its partnership with Jamboree Play and Music and our locally developed program, The Early Years, to post graduation through Concordia Colleges and the Beaconhouse International College. We are proud to be the main sponsors and contributors for a non-profit foundation under which the Beaconhouse National University operates and has completed 20 years of its existence in September this year. The Beaconhouse schools operate in 6 countries, including Pakistan. Our presence in Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, Oman, and the UAE provide us with the opportunity of studying the strengths and the learning experiences of different cultures and combine the best practices to provide our students with a learning platform which caters to the education and training needs of a large and diverse student body of varying ages, socioeconomic backgrounds, and nationalities. The beginning of Beaconhouse can be traced back to the opening of the first early years school called Les Anges Montessori Academy, which fed into the first Beaconhouse school. And as they say, child is the father of man. Today, Beaconhouse schools operate from 40 cities of Pakistan and is proud of its presence in 5 other countries with 26 branches and 9 locations. We provide education to students of varying socioeconomic backgrounds under a variety of brand names. There is TNS Beaconhouse, where project-based learning is the landmark of its progressive educational experience. There is also Beaconhouse Newlands, a school which offers blended learning opportunities with an extended day and a very extensive sports program. The largest number of students, however, is enrolled in the Educators, our franchise network. Another initiative in affordable education are the United Charter Schools, which are driven by the belief that every child is entitled to quality education. We are very excited about our latest initiative, Homebridge, which has harnessed technology and designed an affordable, accessible, and flexible hybrid A-level program which gives every student the right to learn from anywhere online, thus facilitating educational equity and social mobility. We consider it a great privilege to have contributed towards education and to have complemented the government's efforts in shaping the future generation through our pioneer role in the development of private sector education, which is now a prominent part of the educational landscape, at least in Pakistan. It might be surprising for a lot of people to learn that currently 40% of the primary going school children receive their education in private schools. It raises the question of what would have become of these students, of these children, were not, and they would have turned for education had private schools not emerged as essential players in the field of education. When you say a private school, it doesn't necessarily mean schools in the price range of Beaconhouse. There are private schools all over Pakistan in villages and kasbas, and they range from 500 to even sometimes 300 rupees a month to to 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. So there's a very large range which offers opportunities to different people, different students. Today, these private schools not only meet international standards, some of these private schools meet international standards, but also stand as significant contribution to the job market, particularly for educated youth, including women who find teaching to be a favored profession. The Beaconhouse Group today has a strength of 350,000 students. We have to date graduated more than 140,000 students from matric, IBDP, MYP, and ONA levels. Our results have always been a source of delight as students secure the very highest grades and are able to secure admissions to the top universities in the world. It is a matter of great pride to see our students serving their country as useful members of society in many different walks of life in Pakistan and outside Pakistan. We now have the children of our alumni joining our schools in various capacities, mostly teachers, which makes us proud. A number of speakers today are also Beaconhouse alumni. Their success is a treatment to the quality of education we provide. Tomorrow morning, we will recognize and celebrate the outstanding achievements of our diverse alumni by presenting them with well deserved awards. We've also been instrumental in helping our students secure admissions to some of the world's top universities, securing scholarships that represent substantial saving for our country's foreign exchange reserves. Last year alone, our students were able to secure scholarships from some of the best universities of the world to the tune of $131 million. The total for 3 years comes to $384 million. Money saved is money earned. We are not exporters, but in a small way, we do contribute to the economy of this country by securing these scholarships for our students. Beaconhouse is not just about education, it's about social responsibility also. We have assisted communities during times of natural disasters and collaborated with NGOs to improve education in public and not-for-profit schools. Last year, the MEK Welfare Trust donated Rs 30 million to flood-affected families for the reconstruction of 100 homes. Mahmood Kasuri Trust Welfare Trust also partnered with Ahwat Islamic Microfinance. An initial donation of 5 million has been made for the purpose of providing an interest-free loan to the flood victims for reconstruction of flood-affected houses. Loans to 17 families have been disbursed for reconstruction of homes in Bochra village, Tehsil Provo, District Dera Ismail Khan. In addition, Homebridge has provided Ahwat with 200 fully funded scholarships to deserving students for the online A-level program. By offering fully funded scholarship, we provide a solution to the financial constraint that often hinders talented students from pursuing A-level education. Premier DLC, one of our training and consultancy firms, has contributed widely to the public sector under public-private partnership. Currently, PDLC is engaged with the government of Punjab and Sindh for the management of 52 public schools, where the enrollment has increased from 3,200 to more than 12,000 students in just 7 years. In various projects with the government of KP, AJK, Sindh, and Punjab, we have trained more than 133,000 teachers, school leaders, and have assessed over 411,000 students. In addition, we have developed early childhood care and education content in English, Urdu, and maths for Government of Punjab. Trained Gilgit-Baltistan education officials in developing student learning assessment tools with UNESCO, developed 126 customized training modules and teaching aids, and provided ECCE kits to 280 schools in AJK and the Sindh. We do whatever we can do to assist and help the government sector in providing whatever we can in terms of content and training. The School of Tomorrow's event series, which began in 2000, has evolved into a platform where over 500 thought leaders and trailblazers from around the world have shared their insights. It has expanded its reach by featuring physical and virtual events even during the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. It has become a beacon of inspiration to those who believe in the power of education to shape a better future. Throughout its 23 years of hosting School of Tomorrow events, Beaconhouse has advocated for the rights of children and young people to be active participants in their learning. This year's theme, Guardians of the Future, Shaping Tomorrow with Generative AI, retains this focus while also exploring the role of generative artificial intelligence, AI, in shaping our world going forward. It emphasizes our belief that children and young people are the key to building a better world. We advocate for their rights and active participation in their own learning journey, as they are the future mentors and leaders of their families, communities, and nations. The SOT 16 aims to this empower and listen to the voices of today's children and young people through five broad overlapping dimensions. These include an expressive future, an inclusive future, a balanced future, a peaceful future, and an unknown future. Each dimension explores important aspects of education, society, and technology, paving the way for a brighter tomorrow, with AI playing a pivotal role in each of these facets. The event is complemented by an immense art experience curated by Rashid Rana and Risham Sayed and presented by BNU School of Visual Arts and Design. All the five strands are so crucial that I think there could easily be an independent conference on each one of them. But because of paucity of time, we have tried our best to cover each one of them as best as possible. I'm sure you will find many interesting sessions under each dimension. The challenges we face today, including the climate crisis, the impact of technology, and the need for inclusive education, as well as the present pressing issues related to conflicts and human rights abuses, call for innovative solutions. These conferences empower us to develop the ability to anticipate future trends today and prepare our young generation to address these complex challenges proactively. The world is changing rapidly, and the concept of the metaverse is emerging as a transformative force. Tech giants invest heavily in it, envisioning immersive learning and innovative creation. This fourth industrial revolution technology promises to transform work and entertainment, business, and social interaction. Makers most proactively adapt. The School of Tomorrow event is a crucial space to explore this metaverse driven future. It's a world where our real lives interact with digital realms, offering new opportunities for learning and creation. The metaverse will undoubtedly reshape the way we live and work and learn. This year, we are pioneering a remarkable advancement by incorporating AI speakers into our panel discussions. These AI avatars, driven by state of the art generative AI technology, will engage with human panelists and audience, offering unparalleled perspective and insights. The groundbreaking initiative underscores not only our dedication to embracing cutting edge technology, but also provide a visionary glimpse into the future of discourse. It is a development that transcends the realm of education, poised to transform and influence various facets of our lives, ushering in a new era of human AI collaboration and understanding. Before I conclude, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all of our sponsors and partners whose unwavering support has made this event possible. Your dedication to education and vision for a brighter future are truly commendable. I also want to acknowledge the incredible effort of the team at the head office and the Northern Region office who have worked tirelessly to organize this event. Your dedication and hard work have not gone unnoticed. In closing, I encourage all of you to immerse yourself in the discussions, experience, and insight that this event has to offer. Let us be the guardians of the future, shaping tomorrow with generative AI and innovation. Thank you for being here, and I wish you all an enjoyable and enlightening experience at the School of Tomorrow event. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Kasuri. So one future and 5 variations of that future. The clock is really ticking, and we have an exciting keynote speaker, Chris Becher, who is a man of substance, a thought leader, an ideas man. I know it gets embarrassing when people give these accolades to you, but these are accolades well earned. Mr. Becher is a program manager for G Suite adoption for the Google for education team based in Sydney. He works with schools across Australia and New Zealand to help them understand what Google offers and aims to show them how to get the most from G Suite, Chromebooks, and the whole Google ecosystem. So we would request him to kindly take the podium and ignite our imagination on this lazy but glorious November Islamabad morning. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Nice to be here. Do I have some slides coming? Excellent. I was here a couple of weeks ago working with some of you. How many were in those workshops that we did a couple of weeks ago? Anyone? Give me a wave. Fantastic. It's nice to be back. I do have some slides coming. I want to talk to you today about a couple of issues, not issues, but just things to think about. I often feel like the job of a keynote is to just throw some ideas at you, and over the next few days, as you interact with all of these workshops and things, maybe it'll just strike a chord. So that's my mission today. I'm operating on little sleep at the moment, so I hope I do make sense to you. It was a long trip from Australia. I do work for the team over in Google, but prior to that, I was a classroom teacher for about a little over 30 years, so I hope I can bring some classroom experience to this as well. All right. Tap dancing. This was working fine before, wasn't it? Excellent, okay. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. It's a topic that's pretty hard to avoid these days. Everywhere you go, every conference you go to, every time you open the news, every time you look at anything, they're talking about artificial intelligence. In fact, I did notice that there are some of the fastest things on Earth is the cheetah at 180 kilometres an hour, then there's an aeroplane at about 500 kilometres an hour. Speed of light is about 300 kilometres an hour. Per second, I mean, and then people becoming experts in AI. That's probably the fastest moving thing on the planet right now. One of the things that pop up all the time, you've probably seen it too, is this little thing, I am not a robot. I find it fascinating that we are still at the stage now where we have to prove to a machine that we're actually really human, right? Think about that, that's kind of strange, really. But we do it all the time. In fact, I took this screenshot the other day when I was creating one of these avatars like Nadia up here. I was actually creating a little video of an avatar, and after I was creating the video, it asked me to prove I was a human, which I thought was completely ironic. I would like to introduce you to this gentleman, Dr. Robert Epstein. And there's a really interesting story about Robert Epstein. He's an American psychologist, journalist, thinker. He's a PhD in psychology from Harvard. Mr. Epstein he's an editor-in-chief of Psychology Today. He's been at Boston University, University of California, Harvard, and he's the founder of the Cambridge Center for Behavioral Studies. So I think we can all agree he's a pretty smart guy. Would you agree? The part of Robert Epstein's story that I want to share with you is about how he is unlucky in love. So in 2006, Robert Epstein went online on an internet dating service to look for a partner. And he connected with this woman called Emily. And he really connected with Emily. They had a great chat. They talked back and forth. They developed a rapport over a number of days and weeks. And he was starting to really like this woman, who also happened to be in California, where he was. So he thought, this is great. We get to meet. Fantastic. And then Emily broke the bad news to him that she actually wasn't in California. She was, in fact, in Russia, in a small town in Russia. But by this stage, he was smitten. She was beautiful, and he enjoyed the conversation, even though it was a bit stilted sometimes because of the language barrier. But he really liked this woman. So he kept talking. And the language barrier was interesting. Occasionally she would say weird things and he would go, oh, well, it's just the language gap. And about 4.5 months into this relationship, he started to suspect that something wasn't quite right. And just as a test, he went to his computer and he just typed gibberish. And the woman responded with, how's your mother going, by the way? And it was at that moment that he realised that he had been spending the last 4.5 months chatting to a bot. Now, the interesting thing about this guy, Dr. Robert Epstein, not only does he have all these accolades, he not only is a smart guy, one of his specialties is artificial intelligence, and in particular, human-machine relationships. So it's particularly ironic that he spent 4.5 months talking to a bot. The other part of this, ironic part of this story, is that, guys, can I get you to keep that clear because I need a line of sight here, thanks, is that Epstein was also a founder of the Loebner Prize. Now, the Loebner Prize, in case you haven't heard of it, you might have heard it called the Turing Test, right? So the Loebner Prize is an annual competition where they try and determine whether machines can think, essentially. The Turing Test was originally founded by this guy here, Alan Turing. Alan Turing was a computer scientist during the 1940s and 50s. He was instrumental in many things that happened in World War II in terms of England winning that part of the war. And he was quite a genius computer scientist and a founding father of the ideas of artificial intelligence. And Turing proposed this thing called a Turing test, which was essentially a method of inquiry in artificial intelligence to determine if a machine could exhibit evidence of thinking. In other words, he was fascinated with this idea of, can machines think? It's an interesting question, isn't it? Can machines think? And I don't think you can ponder that question without asking yourself another question here. Can you think? Can I think? And if so, if you can think, how do you know? How do you know when someone is thinking? You can't see inside their head. So the only evidence that you can justify imagining whether someone is thinking or not is looking at the output. Would you agree? And so Turing proposed this test, which we refer to today as the Turing test, although he used to call it the imitation game. And it works like this. You take a room and you put a chatbot, a piece of computer code that can interact via text, and you put a human, and then you get a judge, and you get the judge to interact with the human and with the chatbot, and they interact together for 5 minutes. Not a long time. And in the space of that 5-minute interaction, they have to decide whether they think they're talking to a machine or they think they're talking to a human. And Turing posited this idea that, you know, when we get to the stage where we can talk to a machine and not realise it's a machine, we will have moved to a whole new phase of artificial intelligence. That was the key idea. So it turns out that one judge is not enough, so they actually use lots of judges, and many judges have these conversations with the bot and with the human. And to pass the Turing test, you have to convince 30% of the judges that they think they're talking to a human when in fact it's a machine. If the machine can fool the judges after a 5-minute conversation, 30% of the judges, it's deemed to have passed the Turing test. Does that make sense? So I thought that was kind of interesting. Turing's prediction then was at the end of the century, so it's around the year 2000, that the use of words and general educated opinion will have altered so much that one will be able to speak of machines thinking without being contradicted. He thought that by the time we got to the turn of the century, this ability to interact with a machine would be so advanced that we would just take it for granted. It would just be a normal thing. We didn't quite make that timeline. Since then, there's been many, many chatbots developed over the years, many different artificial intelligence conversational codes. But I think the most interesting one is this one, called Eugene Goostman. Has anyone heard of Eugene Goostman? So Goostman is the first chatbot that actually won or passed the Turing test. Okay? And this happened in 2014. And Goostman, the chatbot, was pretending to be a 13-year-old boy from Odessa in the Ukraine. Now, it turned out that after a 5-minute chat, 33% of the judges believed they were talking to a human when in fact it was a machine. Now, I don't know how I feel about that because there's a few things going on here. So, for example, if you're a 13-year-old boy or if you're pretending to be a 13-year-old boy, you obviously have enough knowledge about the world that you can have a conversation, but not enough knowledge that you can have a really sophisticated conversation. There's a lot you still don't know. And plus, if you're doing it in a language which is not your own, then that kind of excuses you when you say dumb things, right? Because it's just not coming across the right way. So it did, in fact, fool 33% of the judges into believing that Eugene Gooseman, the chatbot, was in fact Eugene Gooseman, a 13-year-old boy. So I have to ask, did the machine pass the Turing test? Or did the human fail it? I think that's a really interesting question, right? As we start to interact with machines, we talk a lot about the stuff that AI can do now, and we're worried about some of it, but I sometimes wonder, is the success of some of our machines to do things more of a statement on us as human beings sometimes? Just something to think about as you go through the next couple of days. If you start to think about how we got to this point, if you go back to traditional programming, we used to have to tell a machine what something was. So in this case, we talk about a cat. A cat has it's an animal with 4 legs and 2 eyes and so on, and we have to tell it what a cat is. But around 2012-ish, historically, we changed the way we approach telling computers things, and we developed this method called a neural network. And in a neural network, we don't describe the cat, we just show the machine lots of pictures of cats. And we show it enough pictures that eventually we can show it a picture it's never seen before and go, I think that's a cat. That's a neural network, that's machine learning. And then the thing that's really changed in the last few years, really, is this idea of a generative language model. And it works like this. It's just go and read everything you can and then tell me what a cat is, right? That's, in simple terms, that's what a generative AI model really does. You train it on lots of data and hopefully it can tell you things back from learning lots of things. Now, that's all fairly general stuff. I suppose I should tell you some Google-related stuff. You will find AI everywhere in your daily lives, and I'll give you some Google examples here. So if you ask your Google Assistant, and I won't say, hey, G, because all your phones will go off, right? But if I say, ask the assistant about the weather, it can tell me about the weather. How many of you unlock your phone by looking at your phone? Okay, that's artificial intelligence in action. When you use Google Maps to find the most efficient route, that's artificial intelligence in action. Originally, Google Translate, the engine that was originally built to power Google Translate is in fact the same transformer model that powers a lot of our generative AI these days. And of course YouTube plays songs you've never heard of but will probably like. This is all machine learning and artificial intelligence in action. Now, you've probably seen, if you've gone to Google Photos, you can go into Google Photos and just say, show me a picture of a dog. And it will show you all the dog photos in your collection. You've never tagged them, you've never labeled them. It just knows that that's a dog because it's been trained on lots of information. Now, Google has had a significant input to a lot of the development of AI over the last several years. In fact, I often laugh that everyone talks a lot about ChatGPT, but without thinking that the T inside ChatGPT stands for the word transformer, which is a model that we came up with back in 2017. And we open sourced it to the world, and of course it's powered a lot of other things since then. But we've developed many models over the last couple of years in terms of, I think we've been world leaders in terms of developing AI models that power many, many things. In fact, if you look just inside something like, well, I'm sure many of you have used Google products, Google Workspace, Classroom, Gmail, and so on. If you look inside those products, I think what we've tried to do with our AI is to build it in such a way that it's really clever and helpful, that it powers a lot of things. So, for example, when you are typing an email and it will suggest the next sentence for you, or when you are in a Google Sheet and you're not sure how to write that formula and it will suggest the formula for you, right? We're trying to build really helpful technology directly into products rather than necessarily being somewhere else you need to go. So that's kind of been our approach, to try and make it as helpful as possible. Some of the other things that we have coming, or not coming, but they're here now, practice sets, which is a feature inside Google Classroom, which provides an AI-powered tutor for students, helps teachers prepare work for students, it helps students do the work, and it helps teachers analyse the work afterwards, all powered by a form of AI right there inside the product. We've also developed a thing called Read Along, which is a read-along tutor. Kind of not quite like Nadia, but that's, I think, the idea is to provide an on-demand tutor for students that gives them what they need at the time they need it. And we're building that into products like Read Along. And of course, recently we announced this thing called Duet AI, which is building our artificial intelligence right inside Google Workspace. So for example, you're inside a Google Doc and you want to write something, you can ask it to help you inside the Google Doc, rather than need to go somewhere else and bring it back into your word processor. Okay, so we're trying to be as helpful as possible with all these technologies that they're building. In fact, we have a whole bunch of principles around AI, and I'm very mindful of time, but I would recommend you go to that address at the bottom there, ai.google. Don't worry about the rest of it, you'll find it once you get there, ai.google, and you'll find a whole lot of information about our AI principles. And we believe that when we're developing AI, it has to do certain things and it has to not do certain things. We don't want it to be used for the wrong causes, and we want to make sure we think about the way we're developing it so it's used responsibly and ethically. We're very, very big on that. I just want to show you this very quick video of a guy interacting with one of these things, a chatbot connected to a virtual presence, to give you an example of a thing called inference chaining, where you ask a machine something that's not directly the question, but it figures it out. Let me just show you. Can we have some sound on that, please? I might have to go back. Sound on that? Coming in a second. Okay. All right. Just while he's doing that, I just want to mention a couple of these things. So being socially beneficial, making sure that when we build machines, we don't build in bias. That is incredibly difficult to try and avoid bias, and we put a lot of thought and energy into doing that. Test things for safety, be accountable to people, make sure that we incorporate privacy design like right there embedded in the machine. Are we good to go? Okay, cool. And high standards of scientific excellence, and to make sure that everything we do is in accordance with all of these principles. Very important to us. Okay, I want to show you this video.
Michael is at that really famous museum in France looking at its most famous painting. However, the artist who made this painting just makes Michael think of his favourite cartoon character from his childhood. What was the country of origin of the thing that the cartoon character usually holds in his hand?
The most famous painting in the Louvre is the Mona Lisa. The artist who made the Mona Lisa is Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci is also the name of the main character in the cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Leonardo da Vinci is from Italy. The thing that Leonardo da Vinci usually holds in his hand is a katana. The country of origin of the katana is Japan. The answer is Japan.
Impressive, right? So we're definitely getting to a point where we're asking this question, can machines think? And I think we're starting to see some evidence that they are exhibiting behaviours that you could say is a form of thinking. Now, a couple of examples of AI in action. This is just general generative AI. This is not necessarily Google stuff, right? But just good examples of the way things is getting used out in the real world. This article popped up the other day of a Brisbane mother who's saving $150 a week and 5 hours of time by using generative AI to help her with grocery shopping. Something as mundane as that, right? Or this example over here, where a Court of Appeal judge in the UK praises jolly useful ChatGPT, right, for helping with the ability to help them look at legal rulings, right? And as the judge says over here, I think what is of most interest is that you can ask these large language models to summarize information, and all it did was a task which I was about to do, in which I knew the answer and could recognize as being acceptable. So it wasn't a matter of just setting the AI loose and just hoping for the best, but using it as a partner to develop something like as well as using his own human knowledge, right? That's the key part. And then just last one here, that researchers right now are comparing written responses from physicians and generative AI to real-world health questions, and found that a panel of licensed healthcare professionals preferred generative AI responses 79% of the time. And that generative AI was showing higher levels of empathy than most doctors. Interesting statistic. And as it says down the bottom, the best pathway forward here is the suggestion that physicians working together with such technologies may be the way forward. It's not an either-or proposition. If you start to look at the way some of these models are unfolding, general knowledge over there, AI better than humans. No surprise there. Passing the US SAT exam, AI better than humans. IQ benchmarks, Polish national math exams, UK national maths exams, IQ benchmarks. We are being exceeded by artificial intelligence in all of these. If you look at the generative AI models, this is a quote from Alan Thompson, who's, if you have never heard of him, look him up. He's an amazing researcher. Generative AI models hitting the ceilings of many gold standard benchmarks previously reserved for genius-level humans, including achieving 100% in theory of mind tests, including 99.9% percentile in the Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale IQ test, and the 99th percentile in the Torrance test of creative thinking. Now, I guess you could argue, are the machines getting smart enough to be able to pass all these so they're smarter than us? Or maybe these tests not measuring the right things? You could have a whole debate about that level of stuff. So coming back to the question again, can machines think? I thought what I'd do just to finish this off is ask an AI that question. So I went to this lovely little AI called Pi. I really like this one. If you've never tried it, pi.ai. And I've typed in the question, can machines think? And it came back with this, which I hope it will read to you. There's audio here somewhere. Could you click that little the sound button up in the top corner? Thank you. And there's a play button on it. Yeah, click that and then play, yeah. So this was not only the machine generating an answer.
That machines can't really think the way humans do. They can process information and learn from it, but they don't have the same self-awareness, creativity, or emotional intelligence that humans do. Others argue that as AI becomes more advanced and complex, it's possible that machines could eventually develop something resembling consciousness and the ability to reason. It's a fascinating debate that's been going on for decades.
It's not a bad response from a machine, and the machine read it to me as well. So I think we're definitely getting to a point where it's not, thank you, next slide, maybe next slide. Just click on the page. There you go. The next part of this conversation we'll be having, and I think we'll be having this conversation relatively soon, is not so much about AI, but AGI, or artificial general intelligence. This idea that we're not just building machines that can do one thing very well, but we're building generally intelligent machines that can do many things really well. And that'll scale with the number of parameters in the models and a whole bunch of other technical stuff that happens. But that'll be the next conversation. Artificial general intelligence, what some people refer to as the singularity, right? There's been many predictions about when we get to that point. When will machines literally be as smart as us? The predictions I'm hearing right now are anywhere between 2 and 5 years from now, which is both frightening and inspiring, right? Because it's frightening because if you look at the science fiction models of AI that gets too smart, some of it can be a bit dystopian, right? But I do believe that what the conversations we should be having now about this is, to use the de Bono hat example, is not to just to focus all about the things that are negative and the cautions and the bad things and what if this happens. Let's be aware of that stuff, but let's also remember there's a whole bunch of other hats we should be wearing while we look at this as well. Things like, how is this going to help us with our creativity? How can this help us in a positive way? And so on and so on. So as you go through the next couple of days, you're going to hear a lot of stuff about AI, right? You're going to hear a lot of really scary stuff, I imagine. So just think about wearing all of your hats as you're viewing this through this lens, so you're making intelligent choices going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. As expected, you didn't disappoint us. I think If we become lazy, obviously the machines will take over. Obviously, they'll outthink us. I think the worthy doctor that he referred to, who was heartbroken and didn't have a great record in love-seeking, was just lazy. He just went to the wrong site to look for love. Perhaps he should have been, more hardworking in terms of finding the right kind of partner. So it depends on, how you apply yourself. Now, Beaconhouse Group has earned another feather in its cap. I would again request Chris Petcher to come to the stage and tell us what this is. Chris? I would also request Mr. Qasim Kasuri and Paul Hutchings, Regional Manager of Education at Google, ANZ and Emerging Markets, to come onto the stage. Mr. Paul Hutchings will now present after Becher has explained the award to us, the reference school plaque.
All right. Someone's getting it, yeah? Okay, good.
We'll then do the award? Okay.
There.
Okay, slide.
Right.
We're already, again? Okay, all right.
It is very heavy. 3.5 kilos, in fact. I weighed it. And it's also really good at getting caught in airport security. One of my other hats that I wear at Google, I manage some programs at Google. One of them is what we call our reference school program. The reference school program is designed to identify and recognize and celebrate schools who are doing amazing things, and particularly schools that are obviously using Google technology. So I look after the program for Australia, New Zealand, and parts of the APAC region. I'm very, very pleased to talk about today where we're able to recognise Beaconhouse as a recipient of the Reference School Award. They work very closely with our friends over here at Tech Valley. They work very closely with us at Google. They essentially, to be recognised as a reference school, you not only have to be using Google as your platform, so these are schools that are using Google Workspace and Google Classroom and teacher certifications and Chromebooks, but as well as that, there's schools that are doing amazing things with all that technology. So it's not just about having the technology, it's about making sure it's being used in really meaningful and effective ways. So I would like to...
if I may, just very quickly, I also just want to call out the fact that it's an exclusive program. So not anyone can just become a reference school, right? There is a formal process that you have to go through to be recognized. So I really do want to congratulate the team, specifically Ali and the education team, because the work that you guys have done in not only bringing in the tool set, but really changing the way that you teach it's been fascinating and really enjoyable to watch. So shout out. So may I genuinely congratulate you. It's been a pleasure to work with you and your team, and congratulations very much.
Thank you very much.
Trying to put fingerprints all over it.
So.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Wow, it's heavy. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. On behalf of Beaconhouse, I'm delighted for us to accept the Google Reference School Award. I believe we're the first school in Pakistan, and it's early days. Yes, it is true that we use education technology in our classrooms, but I feel that we have a long way to go in using it even more effectively, especially as it keeps changing so rapidly, as we just saw earlier. So thank you very much to our partners at Google, and we look forward to a strong collaboration with you guys moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me invite Mr. Nasir Kusuri for the note of thanks, the final note, who is a member of the Board of Directors for Education Services. He's an education stalwart and totally, and I mean totally, devoted to the cause of education. Mr. Nasir Kusuri.
Dear colleagues and distinguished guests, I would like to welcome you to the 16th, well, you've already been welcomed, but I'd again like to welcome you to the 16th edition of the School of Tomorrow Conference, Guardians of the Future, Shaping Tomorrow with Generative AI. And I also welcome you on behalf of the northern region of the Beaconhouse school system, which has worked very hard to make this an interesting event. We have some great dinners and other side activities planned as well, which I think you will enjoy. As Qasim said, this event wouldn't be possible without sponsors. So I would like to thank our lead sponsor, Google education partner, Tech Valley, our titanium sponsor, United Bank Limited, and our two gold sponsors, My Backpack and MK Books International. Many thanks also to our other valued sponsors, including Allied Bank Limited, Habib Bank, Franklin Covey Pakistan, Wateen Telecom, Paramount Publishers, Interwood, and Nestle Pure Life. I think as we've discussed, ladies and gentlemen, we stand on the precipice of potentially the most transformative period in human history. We've recently come out of the third industrial revolution, which was characterized by the emergence of computers, which then led to the development of advanced communications technologies like the internet. These communication systems allowed companies to set up global production and services supply chains, otherwise known as outsourcing. The outsourcing phenomena is closely correlated with the rise of many countries like China and India, and is a significant contributor to the East Asian economic miracle, which, and subsequent crisis actually, but the East Asian economic miracle which saw countries like South Asia, Hong Kong, and Singapore grow rapidly. So the third industrial revolution actually led about 1.2 billion people above the poverty line. So before the third industrial revolution, we had 1.9 billion people below the poverty line. And after the third industrial revolution, we had 700 million people below the poverty line. So the previous industrial revolution was definitely a net benefit to human society. And I suppose the question we're left with now is that will this fourth, and some people are in fact now saying fifth industrial revolution, will it be beneficial or detrimental for human society? And that is really what this conference is all about. So, you have not just artificial intelligence, you have other technologies like robotics and 3D printing, which are really transforming reality as we know it. So, even though Nadia didn't perform so well on stage, and it gives me some comfort that we're not about to go extinct anytime soon, but nonetheless, I ask AI, it responds very well when you type something in. So I ask AI to tell me itself some of the benefits that it's brought to the world, and it gave me a very precise answer. So AI has helped to diagnose and treat various diseases, the most recent of which being COVID-19. We develop vaccines in record time, which wouldn't have been possible without modern technology. AI has improved the quality and accessibility of education for all learners by providing personalized and adaptive learning experiences. It's something we will actually be discussing on one of the panels in the conference. AI has enhanced safety and efficiency of transportation by optimizing traffic flows, and we know that self-driven cars are around the corner. AI has supported environmental sustainability and conservation by monitoring and predicting climate change. As Dr. Bassett said, it's great at analyzing big corpuses of data and coming up with some amazing results from that. It's fostered creativity and innovation in various domains, such as art, music, and literature, by providing scaffolding to artists. It's given you personalized recommendations on Netflix and really allowed content and music to be curated to your taste. And it's facilitated communication. We have translators now where you can speak to someone who doesn't speak the same language as you, and it translates in real time. So all really amazing stuff. But at the same time, AI and automation also has the potential, like any technology, it has a dark side. It can be used to create divide, social unrest, and unemployment. And one of the things I'm a little bit concerned about is unemployment personally. The world's top 10 companies are currently worth $17 trillion, and most of them are fourth industrial revolution tech companies. And they're actually worth more than the GDP of China. And using highly mechanized production processes and AI, they have to employ far less labor than third industrial revolution companies or previous companies had to do. So I kind of did this interesting, just Googled a couple of things. So for example, Walmart employs 2.3 million people. currently and has a net income of $13.6 billion. At the same time, Apple has a net income of $100 billion and employs 147,000 people. So this equates, so essentially Walmart is employing 170,000 employees per $1 billion earned, and Apple is employing 1,500. So a lot of these fourth and fifth industrial revolution companies are generating intellectual property IP, but not the fruits, and so the surplus is coming out of the productivity of those companies is predominantly going to their shareholders and not necessarily trickling down to labor or to the middle class, which is really the founding principle of capitalism. So my personal belief is that capitalism, traditional capitalism, may be challenged and employment may be an issue. New jobs will come up. And one of the things we're going to discuss in these panels here is whether more jobs will be created as a consequence of AI than will be lost as a consequence of AI. And that is still up for debate, but it is there. It is here with us forever now, and we need to figure out how to deal with it as a society. So as human beings, I spoke about the third industrial revolution. We're used to navigating the benefits and perils of technology. And so far, we have always made the benefits outweigh the costs. You know, the number of humans living comfortable, fulfilled lives now is way higher than it ever has been, and it's predominantly because of technology. So the purpose of this conference is to explore this nuanced landscape and try to chalk a way forward that is a net benefit to human society and takes us to new levels of contentedness, enlightenment, and equity. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to SOT 16, and let the discourse begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Nasir. This is about the end of this session. I can't thank enough all of you for being here. And the great things that we heard in this conference are going to define the 45 sessions that lie ahead, which incidentally is the same number of matches that are being played at the World Cup. Hopefully, you'll enjoy more these sessions than you have enjoyed our team performance at the World Cup. But just a final thought on AI. Honestly, I think Qasim mentioned the number of out-of-school children in Pakistan, 23 million. Just add to that the fact that about 300 million children across the world are out of school. And while we we fancy about how AI is going to be defining our future, let's also not forget the fact that about 3 billion people across the globe have never used the internet. So, and as a student of history, my apprehension is that starting from the use of coal to the discovery of oil, to the industrial and scientific revolutions, to the AI revolution, each revolution has reinforced dependency of the poor on the rich. It has empowered the existing poor, and it has forced misery upon those who are not empowered enough. So while we debate these great issues about AI and guardians of the future, let's also use the inclusivity principle and see how AI can be used for those who are locked out of the artificial intelligence and power world that defines our lives. So if we can use AI and create mentors who could look after the dispossessed, I think that will be a great outcome at the end of this conference. Again, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day.